This is going to be a quick tutorial about how to utilize units of measurement inside of Luminous. So where this can be found here is underneath Inventory Admin and Units of Measure. Now there's a couple tabs here at the top that I'm going to go through and just explain. Make sure that you fully grasp what unit of measure does in Luminous and how it can be utilized to enhance your experience. So first things first, there is this concept of unit classes. Unit classes is basically what are the different ways you are tracking inventory. Great example, and by default it'll be quantity. So if you're tracking by each, that's going to be most common. However, other commonly used unit classes would be something like length, weight, area, maybe even volume if you're ordering liquids or things like that. So it's important you can come set this up here. The base class, so if the majority of your inventory is tracked by quantity, that's going to remain your base class here. You can change that here. You can also edit the names of these classes from this view as well. Now, moving on here, probably most importantly are units of measure, where now within that unit class, you're able to create specific units of measure. So if you're tracking things by weight, you may create a unit of measure for pounds or kilograms or grams. If you're doing something in length, right, it might be feet, yard, inches. You can use multiple different units of measure here at this point. Now I can go ahead here and you can see all of these ones that have already been created. Anyone that have been created, you can edit or set as the base unit. It's recommended that the base unit is basically the smallest unit of measure for that unit class. So an example may be for weight, gram may be that base unit. That's what all the other calculations are going to be based off of. When we look into conversion rules, you can see, okay, there are X amount of grams in a kilogram here. So if I were to create a conversion rule, I can come in here and say, okay, I'm dealing with weight. In this instance, the base unit of measure we have here is milligrams. And if I'm converting that to gram per se, a unit of measure that we already have created, I can come in here and say there's 1,000 milligrams in a gram. You also have the ability here to choose this if it's system-wide or if it's for a specific SKU. You can come in here and choose SKU, search up that SKU, and then you can set that accordingly. That's really helpful if there may be a different conversion of, maybe if you were getting really creative, there may be a different conversion for if you're ordering oil or ordering water. There's a possibility that there's a different conversion rate between maybe grams to something related to volume. It gives you a little bit more flexibility here as well. Now, how that applies in the system, if you come here to SKUs, I can come in and when creating or editing a SKU, you are also able to identify the unit class here. So for this 10-foot rod, or for another example, I can change this to length, and I can choose the selling unit and also the purchase unit. So purchase unit, you may order something by the yard, but receive it in as feet or some other example like that. You are also able to make that happen where you can write a PO with one unit of measure, and then when you receive it in, inventory will then be displayed based on what the selling unit is. So another great thing here in Luminous as well is when it comes to an assembly order or creating a bill of material, you are also able to indicate by what unit of measure you are going to be consuming those raw goods in, which provides a little bit more flexibility inside of the system as well. One last thing here with unit of measure, I can come to my name in the bottom left, click system settings, and I can come here now to inventory settings, and you're able to choose to hide the unit of measure or click this off, which will then allow you to come into somewhere like the stocks page, and it'll show you that base unit of measure for these SKUs, so you have a little bit of a better grasp on what's what. If you have some inventory being tracked by weight, others by quantity, that enables you to see the units of measure here on the stocks page for a little bit more clarity. That's about it. Thanks, guys.